Jordan,
Hey,
good to see you.
Dr. Rogers, how you doing?
Go ahead and have a seat.
Thank you, I appreciate it. How you doing today?
Good, man. So what's going on?
Yeah, doing good. Thank you again for the time. I just really wanted to say that I appreciate you taking some time to meet with me today. I know we've had those brief interactions at the hospital, and so I appreciate you letting me into your office, kind of getting a behind-the-scenes look. So really appreciate that. Now, before I started, I don't want to just dive right into what I wanted to talk about today. I thought it was fair if we're going to have a good working relationship for you to be able to understand what my purpose is and where I feel my role is and how I fit in. Now, as a rep, I view it in two parts. I want to be an expert, but I also want to be your advocate. Now, when I say expert, I want to know my product line, obviously, backward and forward, which I do. But I'm also constantly reading journal articles to make sure that I'm staying up to date with current techniques, current concepts, as well as other competitors' projects that are in the field. I want to know what new technologies are out there, what people are doing and what's working, so that when we talk and we converse, I can give you valuable information that helps you make a good decision for your practice, the hospital, and the patient, which is most important. So
Sure.
Just wanted to kind of get that out there and let you know kind of where I'm coming from.
Okay.
Now, if you don't mind, I think it'd be beneficial to me if I could ask you a couple questions, things that I maybe aren't privy to that I don't get to see on a day-to-day basis.
Sure.
Now, you've worked at St. Joe's for quite a while. What would you say in the relationship between you and like the hospital as a whole, what would you say is 2 to 3 things that they maybe expect of you or ask of you that's something that's like your responsibility?
Well, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket science to figure this one out. With Obamacare, we'll see what happens now with Trump. But with Obamacare, you know, the pricing pressures and you know, the fact that we have to see more patients, and of course we're hopefully getting better quality of care. But hospitals with this massive growing population of individuals needing procedures, they're pushing us on cost. The cost first and foremost is what they want. In many instances, much to the dismay of most surgeons, they want to take away the choice that we have. I mean, they want to dictate what products we use, and again, most of that's always going to be cost-based.
Yeah, I understand.
They're asking for us to, you know, book more cases. They're asking us to be more efficient. They're asking us, you know, really everything to help them out.
Yeah.
And them meaning the hospitals to be more efficient in the models that they use. So it's cost, it's time, it's, you know, it's always going to remain there. Of course, we still want quality outcomes.
Absolutely, and I appreciate your insight in there because I feel like that helps me to know my role better, to assist you, and if everybody's kind of on the same game plan, same goal, I think we're going to be more successful. Now, it's interesting that you should mention time because there's a lot of factors that go into that, and one specifically that I wanted to talk to you about today, I feel addressed this article that I found. Now, bear with me, it is from a little bit of an unusual source. It's Infection Control Today.
Sure.
I don't know if you subscribe to that.
No,
I don't myself. What stuck out to me is that it is an article about Banner University Medical Center just down in Tucson.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody right here local. And it talked about the relationship between their SPD and the OR team and how they work together in order to be efficient at case turnover, decrease delays, and things like that, how it is, you know, a team. Obviously, we see the main going-ons in the operating room, but they're a big part of it as well, as I'm sure you know.
Right.
Now, mostly who's quoted out here is a man named Mr. Brooks, we'll call him. He's the manager of the SPD down there at Banner University Medical Center, and he services about 3,000 instrument trays. That's their inventory down there. He says on a day-to-day basis, more often than not, they have more cases than they have instrument trays for.
Okay.
And so they are having to reprocess instruments, re-sterilize instruments between cases, and a lot of times that can lead to delays, which is a domino effect, as you can tell, and it would lead to case delays throughout the day. Now that's going to affect you, it's going to affect the patient, and it's ultimately not the end goal that the hospital wants. Am I right in saying that?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. He said that typically out of the 3,000 cases, they'll maybe have missing instruments from about 10% of those on a day-to-day basis. So it's a real issue that can cause some problems, and this is just one facility, obviously, but with human error involved, it's something that's going to happen on, you know, pretty usually. I'm sure you've seen that. I've been in ORs where there's been things missing, and we want to eliminate that headache altogether. And I apologize. I did want to let you take a look at that. It is pretty interesting if you read through it, you know, just to kind of get a different view of things. Now, obviously, what I'm here to talk to you about today is the DRAD Smart Pack.
Okay.
Now, what that is, it's a plating system for distal radius fractures. It's a volar plate, similar to some other plating systems on the market. Now, we know how prevalent those fractures are, so there's bound to be loads of cases with these, so we want to make sure it was effective. But what I mostly wanted to talk to you about today is how it can save you time make you more efficient in the operating room, and hopefully book you more cases.
Okay.
Now the way that it does that, and here's the case, I wanted you to get your
Sure.
hands on that. Now the way that it does that is each kit has everything you need for the procedure. It's going to have the plates, the screws, as well as the instrumentation. It's packaged sterile, and the beauty of it is that you'll be using a new kit for every case that you do.
Okay.
So really what that means is that you're going to eliminate the turnover time. You don't have to wait for instruments to be turned over and reprocessed down at SPD. You can go from one case to another knowing that you'll have a brand new kit with everything that you need. Now, taking that a step further, what that means is because you're not having case delays, you can book more cases. You're not going to have angry patients because there's no delays. And ultimately, we hope the hospital will be more happy with you, you'll be more happy with us, the patients will be happy with everybody. You know, we're just one big happy family, essentially.
Right.
So really, we do feel like it's going to save you a lot of time just because it is so convenient of not having to worry about that, not having, and I know it doesn't happen a ton, but you just don't have to worry about having missing instrumentation for your procedure.
Sure.
It's a huge benefit, and what we've been able to see, like I said, with our other surgeons that have been using it, is that they have been able to book more cases, and there's very little error as far as instrumentation or intraoperatively things going wrong.
Sizing options, screw options, all that stuff. How's that
Absolutely.
look?
I did want to touch base on that because
Sure.
you're not going to lose a step as far as the functionality of the plate itself.
Okay.
We do have templates in each kit,
Okay.
so you can know, before you actually put on the actual plate which one you want to use. There's a standard 22 millimeter and a wide 27 millimeter.
Okay.
Between the two, we do feel it's going to be able to treat most, if not all, of your patients as far as their radial anatomy. Now we do have locking screws, locking pegs, as well as regular Cortex screws. Each of those will have a 30-degree cone of angulation. We have a fixed angle and a variable angle drill guide. The drill guide has a depth gauge etched into it, one screwdriver for all the screws, one drill bit for all the screw sizes, and they have, depending on what screw section you're talking about, there's 10 to 12 sizing options, and
Sure.
they go up by 2 millimeter increments.
Okay.
Okay. Now, and like I said, the beauty of it really is that everything comes ready to go for you. There's no turnaround time, there's no downtime, everything's packaged sterile. So where you're not losing any of the functionality or the effectiveness of the plate, you're gaining that time aspect, which is, if anything, the one thing that I'd like you to take away from today.
Sure.
So as you get your hands on it, I know that it's going to be very easy to use. We don't want to make it complicated for you. We want to match everything that you're currently doing. And I can show you everything that, as far as instrumentation, a little bit more in depth as we go on. But just to kind of summarize, you have a huge demand on you for being cost effective as well as being efficient with your time. And just to touch on cost, because that's not really my area as much, you are going to be saving the hospital in cost because they don't have those labor charges down in the sterilization department.
Right.
You're essentially eliminating those so they can work on something else to be a little bit more efficient. So really the two main charges of the hospital giving you, I hope that I've conveyed that we're going to be very effective in facilitating you with those. Specifically, really, your time, your cost, the DRAD Smart Pack is really going to be able to facilitate you in both of those. And as you get your hands on it, I really think that you'll be able to see that firsthand. But I would really leave it to you as far as what you would want to do next. If you would feel comfortable in the OR, I would love to get to that point where we can maybe schedule a case together where this would work for you. If not, we can do maybe some pre-case cadaver labs, get your hands on it in another setting to just see how it works, instrumentation, just kind of.
Well, I mean, it seems pretty simple. I mean, I'd love to use this, and I like the simplicity of not having to wait for instruments to come up from SPD. Of course, I don't make that decision. Ultimately, it's going to be Cheryl, materials manager over the hospital.
Absolutely, and I've touched base with Cheryl. She knows who I am, so if there's anything that I can do to facilitate, or if she needs any information, I'd be able to talk to her.
Well, I know they got an approval process to be able to use this stuff, and I don't want to get you in trouble or me.
No.
So if you'll
not
talk to
at all.
Cheryl over there and let her know that I've definitely got interested in using this
Yeah,
product.
absolutely.
She'll know what the pricing is, and she'll know where this thing needs to be priced.
And I can go over details with that with her,
Excellent.
and hopefully get on contract and
Yeah.
start to use these because
Yep.
really in my eyes, there's really benefits.
Yep,
So,
I agree.
Awesome.
Well, I
Hey,
appreciate you coming by showing me.
Dr. Rogers, I couldn't appreciate the time more. I really appreciate it.
You bet.
And I look forward to working with you.
You bet. Thanks a lot, man.